So I wanted to talk about some things to consider before you pull the trigger on making plans that might disrupt your child's sleep. So the first thing that would come to mind is the level of priority. So is this somebody in your family, is this event incredibly important? Is this relationship that you have with this person who's having this event very important to your life? Is it worth essentially messing up the sleep? For example, in my own life, every Friday night we're supposed to have a family dinner. Dinner time usually coincides, like normal people dinner time usually coincides with bedtime, and it is not feasible for us to skip every single dinner from now until our child is 1 or 2 years old. So we'd have to come up with some sort of compromise, which I'm going to talk about at the end of the video. So first, think about the priority. Is this worth it? Talk to your partner about it. Is this person's relationship to me worth messing up the sleep? Then think about if this is something essential. So, obviously the Friday night dinners, they're not essential, but they're something that's important. It's a high priority, but something like swim lessons. Does your child need to learn how to swim, and is the only open slot during nap time, or is it going to make bedtime later? If this is something they absolutely need to learn and it's only for a 2-week period of time, are you willing to make that adjustment and have sleep be messed up for that 2-week period of time? Another thing that you need to think about is your child's temperament, because some kids are a little bit more sensitive than others. Is your child one who is totally going to lose their shit when they are not getting sleep? If they miss nap time, do they go from 0 to 60? Does it take them like 3-4 weeks to bounce back from some sort of sleep hiccup? If that's the case, then, going back to the priority thing, if it's not a high priority, then maybe it's not worth it. And if it's not essential, then maybe it's not worth it. On the other hand, is there some sort of compromise that you can reach? That might be something to think about too. If it's a dinner, is it possible for the person you're meeting for dinner to make dinner a little bit earlier? If it's like a lunchtime thing, can you guys have more of a brunch instead of, a late afternoon lunch or something like that coincides with nap time? You should have, that brings me to the last point, you should have some sort of backup plan. Like, how long are we giving ourselves if you're trying to do a nap on the go? Like, let's say there's some family picnic or something and you're like, okay, we're gonna attempt to nap the baby in the stroller. Talk to your partner and say, how long are we giving this before we decide to give up and one of us leaves with the baby, or we just decide to pack up and go? So what's the deal breaker? Get that in your head ahead of time so that you don't lose your mind the second your baby starts to cry. Instead, you give them a little bit of time and you're like, okay, I gave myself a 20-minute window. I'm gonna give this nap a 20-minute attempt, and if at the end of 20 minutes they're still not asleep, it's time to go. Or something like, if you're in a hotel, it might be good to talk to your partner about what's our game plan. Are we just gonna break all sleep rules while we're on this vacation so that we don't wake up our neighbors, and then worry about it when we get back? Talk to your partner and figure out what it is that you're going to do in that type of situation. So hopefully that helps a little bit. It's not gonna make the sleep happen for you, but it can at least keep you in like a centered place. So think about the priority. What level of priority is this? Is it essential? What is your child's temperament? Is there some sort of compromise that can be reached so all parties are essentially happy in some respect? And do you have some kind of backup plan? And in there, make sure you're talking to your partner, whoever's going to be with you, about all of those things.